Is your phone connected to the speaker now?
Oui.
Very good. I think we are all set. If we're not,
I know.
too bad. Oh, fuck it. It's good enough.
How's my forehead?
Perfect, bro.
Okay.
Perfect.
A little shiny?
Nah, you're good.
No. Can I sit on that, please?
On that, yes.
I need some cushion here. I'm on straight rock.
I know, I have a chair built into where I am sitting right now.
I see that.
I'm very lucky. I like the writing on these rocks.
I don't.
There's this one time
No, that's
I
fair.
left. It was up in the desert again. It was in Zion. And I left one of my old Instagram tags, and lo and behold, one day someone said, "This you?" Question mark.
I love when that happens. I've done that a couple of times.
It was the "Live a Little Bruh" one. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Joint. Do you want one of these right now?
Sure.
All right. Go ahead. So, good morning.
Good morning. Good afternoon, good night. Thank you. Yeah, I honestly... Sometimes I like the writing on the rocks. Sometimes it adds something, sometimes it takes away. I don't hate this. Pookie Bear is kind of cute.
The old historical graffiti, like the Greek and Roman stuff. I like that. I like seeing those.
That.
We should talk about the elongated skulls, bro. That's so on my mind.
Please.
So, I don't remember the dude's name. I can't look it up on my phone. But there are. I already told you about the head sutures and all that stuff. So, elongated skulls. Certain examples are indicative of head binding, which of course begs the question, why did they start doing that? Where did that come from? But other ones have
the influence there.
What did you say?
What was the influence of that?
Exactly. There's a B. Look at it. Other ones have a larger cranial volume, which you cannot get from head binding. It's going to make it smaller or deform it in some way. You can't make the head bigger.
But you still have the same volume.
Those ones that have a larger volume are the ones with different cranial sutures. So you have the sutures in your head where the bone comes together when you're little, so it grows properly.
Yeah.
And there's one missing and others in a different position on certain elongated skulls. Very cool shit. Very cool shit.
And then you had mentioned that there was in the back of the skull where the nerve or the, what is it?
Yeah.
That's different.
So you have different holes in like the bone structure of your face for nerves to come out.
Yeah.
And those are in different places on these skulls. All that is to say that these aren't genetic deformations of the conventional Homo sapiens species. It is something set apart.
Yeah.
And then in these examples, there is also a trend throughout where the opening in the bottom, where your head connects to the rest of your neck, is in a different position. It's formed, adjusted. Anyway, the whole shit grew to compensate for the weight imbalance that would be there. So if it was a normal human skull and you had your spinal column where it is, you'd be off balance. So it's small, it's set up. There's all this shit that heavily suggests these are something else.
Absolutely.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you said these were found in Peru, Chile.
I think both. They're actually around, bro. And I know, so there's some theories about the floods and stuff that these people like went back into caves and shit and lived in caves and would only come out at night. The Appalachian Mountains, these aren't just the elongated, so these are just weird creatures, bro. So there's stories and old cave painting type things and legends about people They're the moon-eyed people is what they're called.
The moon-eyed people.
Yeah. They were pale and strange and only came out at night. Lived in caves and all that shit.
I wonder if they invented moonshine.
No, that was just the normal Appalachians.
But that's where we are. And if these are Appalachian people, I wonder if they made the moonshine.
But these are like the Native Americans and these are the weird.
Yeah, but they made alcohol
maybe,
too.
Maybe.
They were tripping off this shit out here. No doubt. The dolphins do it. Everyone does it.
This is very true.
That wasn't just a...
This is very true.
Did you know that alcohol actually used to be very medicinal?
Yeah.
It was actually created using all these herbs and plants, and it wasn't this ethanol-based toxin that we put into our body. Like, alcohol was... It's like spiritual in the way that like mushrooms are. It was completely different. Completely different. Stuff we have now is highly addictive and horrible for you, but...
How long ago were you talking about, bro? Because they had beer and shit in like what fucking Babylon and.
I'm talking about further back.
Further
back.
Okay.
And probably less far back in like, you know, this region of the world, right, where it was colonized.
Yeah, you do wonder how certain stuff like that passes through culture. Anything that changes the way you normally operate.
It bugs me how much is lost. Like, there are lots of relics and artifacts and like all throughout Europe because it was just, we kept all the old shit. All of the old shit here is gone. Except for in places like Yosemite, you'll find all of the alien, indigenous things. But like, even in South America, like Machu Picchu, for example, they kept that shit.
Was destroyed.
There's similar structures to Machu Picchu in all the national parks that are just closed off, like that you just can't access. So many structures, so many places that it would completely change how we look at history and how we look at how developed those societies were. Like, we've been made to believe, oh, they were savages, they were just like that's in every common textbook written by what's his fucking face, Maxwell, right?
Yeah.
But it's not true. They were highly developed, highly sophisticated, clean, like they had it down to the science.
So this is something I was going to talk to you about. Remember when I was trying to remember all the just all the shit that I've been watching and learning about. So one of them in Egypt, in Greek historians, ancient Greek historians, and in Roman times, and then I want to say in like the early, either just in the 1800s, late 1800s or 1900s. There's a story of the labyrinth, and the one with the Minotaur, it is theorized by certain folks, is based off of the tales of the Egyptian one. And this is, I should write notes. I should give these people actual information on this for the future. Remember to write more notes about this stuff. You do your own research. Okay. So this guy here's the legends. Does his research on it, 1800s or something. Goes there, tries to excavate, right? And all around here, I don't know if it's Karnak or some other shit. I think it's close to either the Red Pyramid or just, I don't fucking know, bro. I don't remember. So this labyrinth, he was sure it was there. He found the location, and what he found were the ruins of old villages built over what looked like an artificial floor. This incredibly expansive flat surface that was below the sand, below the villages that were before his time. And he goes through all this excavation and comes to decide that he's walking atop the ruins of the labyrinth. It's gone, it's been destroyed, and what he's walking on is the floor to it. Now we have different ways to investigate what is below the earth, and the theory is that in fact that was the roof. And there are designations and descriptions of the layout that date all the way back to, so the Egyptians, the dynastic Egyptians, when these Greek Roman historians investigated what this place was, they were given like limited tours of this place to record it, and the descriptions they wrote of the halls and the organization and the levels, what they could see, line up with what the scans have shown, which is very fucking cool, bro. And so much of this area right now is flooded because of a dam that was created in what the fuck is it called?
Convenient.
There's to the left of the Nile, there's this giant ass green area.
Yeah.
And there's a dam that was made so the natural flooding that would occur doesn't do the same stuff anymore. And what that has led to happen is, as the water table rises, this river that goes alongside this presumed labyrinth has flooded into the lower chambers of the pyramid, which this guy thought was the entrance to the labyrinth. And so when he went down there, he did crazy stuff like crawling through just mud, and like the ceiling is right above his head. And what he did was he blasted his way into the side of this pyramid and then crawled through these chambers to find the actual entrance, what had giant monolithic stones, the way you see inside like the Great Pyramid, how on the surface it's smaller stones, and then inside there's the slant, all that crazy stuff. But he, and now people today, I mean, you can't go any further without like scuba gear, and getting all the mud and refuse out of these places. Insane. I hope it happens in the future, bro. I hope we're able to get in there.
Absolutely.
That's so crazy. I'm sure there's so much stuff buried.
So much. And it's interesting because like we literally, in so many of these excavations, like are literally scratching the surface. And you've seen that like when you talk about the floods, and then you go to like the plains and you're like, oh, there's a whole building attached to this building. What the fuck is that? Like that shit's old. Like we are building cities on top of new cities. So it's interesting. A lot of shit's underground. A lot of shit's literally buried. It's funky. I heard this theory that most of the pyramids were actually like these sound healing like temples. Like they weren't just all like tombs. Those were there for medicinal healing purposes. And have you heard about how like the pyramids of Giza are like completely in alignment with like the stars, Orion's belt, and someone did the math, and it was relative like to the circumference of the earth, and the exact location of where these pyramids were built has something to do with like the latitudinal whatever the fuck. I have no idea. Like I don't know too much about this.
No, I know what you're talking
about.
But
there was so like the people who built the pyramids had so much insight into like how big the earth was, like where we were positioned in the cosmos, and built these structures accordingly. And we just like to bullshit and be like, it's fucking Tut's tomb. They just worshipped him and made him a big pyramid, called it a day. Like, I don't know about that.
There was, so this is like what you're saying. I know this, but someone measured the precession of the stars in order to determine how long ago the pyramids would have had to have been made in order to be in like perfect alignment with Orion's belt. It's a long time.
Like,
I don't remember.
They were,
but it's
compared
time,
to like
bro.
Cleopatra, like those were ancient pyramids for her.
Yeah.
So we are looking way back. Like she could look out at the pyramids and say those were built in ancient Egypt.
Yeah.
Comparison to, you know, her timeline, her time on Earth, like that's insane. That means they're really fucking old.
So much of the
old.
rubble and the construction in that area is such a mystery.
Mm-hmm.
So there are the drill holes and just giant pieces of rubble. And there's the only names that are sticking in my head are like, it doesn't fucking matter. But there are other, okay, I don't know if this one is at Aswan. Aswan is a quarry site, and at one of these places there are these giant like scoop marks under the stone, and people look at that and are puzzled at how this smooth removal without tool marks you could really get something from.
Yep. What do you think that was? I like to think it was magnetism.
I don't know.
Some sort of.
What I wonder is like, I wonder if there was a means to interact with stuff like stone in order to make it more malleable, because I feel like there's stuff that will one day be science when it comes to interacting with physical matter.
Did you hear someone cough down there?
I did not. I heard a little scrumpling noise, but I didn't know if it was someone coughing. There's just shit that we don't know yet, and I'm sure that, and I imagine that in these places where we just can't figure out how something was made, it has to do with changing the malleability, the physical way you interact with the stone. So there's this other shit. This guy by the name of Paul Cook does stuff on YouTube, and is very into stuff about geopolymer, and he goes to a lot of sites, a lot in motherfucker. Where is it? It's a little island. Jesus Christ.
Thinking, loading.
Can you look it up?
Yeah. Island off of.
Just look up Paul Cook. What the fuck? Let me see it.
Paul Cook. Okay, here. I have one bar.
Good. Where the fuck is it, bro? Malta. That's what it is.
Oh, okay.
So there and elsewhere, there's shit that's huge, and what it looks like is if you can stack, like, it looks like sandbags. It looks like the way concrete comes in a bag.
Yeah.
And if you just poured water over it and left it in that, and how it would conform, and it has little creases, like stretch marks of the fabric and shit like that. And it's so strange. It is so odd, bro. And there's so much stuff that he goes into that there's no answers for it right now.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then there's other smaller stuff like pre-dynastic Egyptians these are in museums, and it's like granite bowls or jars that are tested, put up against by research centers to check their circumference and their symmetry, and the variation between sides, and some of them have little handles. It's so tiny. It's so tiny. And these are a solid piece of granite. It is smooth down to a point of reflection. And in the museum, these pre-dynastic Egyptian artifacts have lids that are like roughly made of clay and stuff. The other thing that when I found out about this stuff was how you have certain like statues and sculpture from that time period, and same deal, granite, other very hard stones, and the inscriptions that are, there's ants, bro, there's ants. The inscriptions that are informing archaeologists, people studying this, could they look so much as if um, a person in power took possession of these things. Mm-hmm. So they scratched their name into it. And it does look like that. It looks like scratches. It is so rough and dissonant when compared to the way these things are created. If you make a sculpture like this, you would not put that on the face of it, on the plate, on the butt. You wouldn't do that.
Yeah, of course.
Many questions.
Many questions.
Many questions, bro.
Fucking interesting. Shit, what was I gonna say? I just lost it. That just like completely blew me out of the water and pissed me off at the same time, and I lost all train of thought.
Dude, there's this dude. Oh my god. He's the guy, the Ministry of Egyptian Antiquities, or whatever the fuck it's called now. I shan't even say his name. He's such an ass, and he does so much to put down any new theories about this stuff, bro.
Of course.
It's actually ridiculous.
Yeah, because that doesn't benefit any of those people.
Yeah.
You want to change history? Nope, can't do that.
So there was a...
Let me rephrase. Can't change history as it's been written now.
Yeah.
Any theory, argument against history as we know it today, shut down immediately.
When that stuff about the labyrinth, when the newer research was done, it was through a pretty well-regarded guy at one of the universities there working on this as a project. And they had to go through this nasty dude in order to get anything published. And threat of like jail time, all this crazy stuff was put against them if they ever published it. And they had to sit on it. This happened in like, all this stuff was done in like 2008, all these discoveries. And eventually they were like, fuck it. And they put it on a website, all the scans, all the write-ups they had about it. And it just blew up, bro. And I don't know what their situation is with regards to Egypt now and being able to go there and do research, but I believe it's very not good.
Probably not, no. At least they're not in jail, though.
Yeah.
Have you heard about the ant people?
No. Tell me about that.
I don't know much about it, you know.
And
but when I went to Mount Shasta, everyone was talking about it. They're like, there's this whole colony of ant people, because you know how there are like civilizations of people to this day who live underground. You talked about it a little bit, like the people in Appalachia. There are a lot of funky beings in Appalachia. And you know what's interesting? I believe it's some mountain range in Europe, but like, you know, like little spooky stories about the forest, like the Black Forest in Germany and stuff like that. That mountain range was connected with Appalachia, which is why people talk about these very similar there's very similar folklore and beings and tales that people talk about, because it at one point was connected. So whatever is here is also there. Same chain of mountains. But yeah, the ant people, they're just people who allegedly are hybrid, who live underground, especially under Mount Shasta. And it has to be obviously humanoid connection with some extraterrestrial. So I wonder if ants are like technically extraterrestrial. I wonder. That's one thing I love to think about. Like people always talk about like octopi or
Yeah.
jellyfish, and they're like, "That's not from this Earth. Like that's an alien. That came from an asteroid." Like, and I think ants are similar. But yeah, there's this whole civilization under Mount Shasta, or maybe you know
Oh.
their Mount Shasta is just more receptive of other beings because it just is the type of place that it is. But people would not stop talking about them. Everywhere I went, everyone was talking about these people as if they were fact, like they were real. And I'd never heard of them before. And it blew my mind. I talked to like a lot of people at Shasta too who came there, especially during COVID, who had all of these extraterrestrial experiences. They were visited by extraterrestrials. I remember they were having this like ceremony, like this party, because people go up there and seriously just like party, but not in like the conventional way of partying that you imagine.
Yeah.
It's like they're dancing naked around fires. They're doing ayahuasca. It's a community event. It's a whole new, just different group of people I had never really come across before. But they said that they saw this ship come down and kind of like lit up, like the extraterrestrials were like super excited about what everyone was doing, like really enjoying it. And I mean, they're talking about this the same way they're talking about like interacting with me and seeing me and, face to face.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I've always believed in extraterrestrials, but similar, like the way that you said, like you have this connection with your plant in San Francisco. And I'm like, oh yeah, I had a connection with the pear tree in the backyard. You don't actually take it seriously until you hear someone else say it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it put all of that in a completely new light. Very fucking interesting. Shasta is a neat place. But it's like it's an old, well, it's supposed to be one of like the chakras of the earth. So I know one's like in South Africa, one's in Mount Shasta. It's one of those vortexes on earth, highly energetic, just crazy energy, and I've never experienced anything like it. And it is like a former Native American, very spiritual site. It's like going to Mecca, right? So there was this
What the fuck?
high.
Get the fuck off, bro.
Is that a lanternfly?
Get going, bro.
Goodbye. But there was this really interesting energy, but then it was coupled with, it was dark because I felt like I wasn't necessarily welcome in certain places, certain sites. I was not supposed to be there. And I don't know if that has to do with like my family history, because we've been in the States for a long time, so there might be some historical family angst between me and Native Americans, which is very unfortunate. I don't know. But it definitely was not all welcoming. Like it was not just this, good vibe, like,
Well, that's what you hear a lot about that place, that it's strong.
It's strong.
Yeah.
It's strong.
But you gotta think about like how that relates to what you put out. Because that is a hard thing to master and a hard thing to control and have agency over. And this dude that I was telling you about, who had his experiences and had a ghost that was...
Yeah.
God, I wish I could fucking remember. He's so stupid, bro. Ugh. His experiences, blah, 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 the haunting that he experienced, he would find the being to be easy to live with when he was in good spirits, and more aggressive and antagonistic when he was going through hard times in his life. So I think that's, and sometimes as a human, it crosses a line in our nature in many ways to be able to have such control over our influence on the outer world.
Yeah.
Not in necessarily any visual way, but just in the things we put out. That is something that for many people myself included, to a degree you're not supposed to. It would change your life. It would change your life and shift you somehow from having a human experience to be able to have such agency over your world. It would not be the same story. You would not see things the same. You would not see tasks, the elements of everyday life the same way. That can be something
Absolutely.
not great, bro.
And I think that was part of my issue going there, because I didn't, my mom really wanted to go there. She had been talking about it since she was like 4 years old about going there. She had been extremely drawn to that place. And I had never had the same connection because I just didn't understand what it was. I just didn't know. I was never really made aware of it until my mom told me about it. So I wasn't really going in with open arms, with high expectations. I mean, I was excited, but I was like, I wasn't prepared for what it actually was and the weight of that place.
Yeah.
I had no idea and no real serious appreciation that I should have had going into it. And I think that was part of it. Like, I was somewhat skeptical.
Mm-hmm.
And then interacting with people, like the woman that basically led us that day has been there, I mean, more times than she can count. She's basically nomadic, you know, from like lives in LA, but she like makes her living just on like donations practically. She's an artist, she's a free spirit, she's the epitome of like a wild woman. And she saw this white feather fall in front of her right before she met us. And so she's Peruvian Mexican. She's from South America. And she was like, yeah, I saw this white feather, and then I met you guys, and it was like, you know, oh, you're gonna like take the white people on a tour today. So it was kind of hilarious. And of course they ate up that Alora was Peruvian. They loved that. But it was kind of funny. So she took us to the Yoni, which is this like vortex water source. And you know what the Yoni is, right?
No.
That's like vagina, like the epitome of creation. So she led us there, and I mean, it was seriously like walking through a portal just to get there. It was insane. A tree branch broke. And that's where I had Alora baptized in the Yoni of Mount Shasta. She was like, has she been baptized? I said, no, she hasn't been baptized. And so she took her and baptized her in this, I mean, the most pure, like crystalline water structure around, right? Mm-hmm. Insane. And it was amazing. It was an amazing time. And you literally were walking around as if you were off drugs. Like, it felt like I was just up in the clouds, just interacting with these people, being in this place. It was phenomenal. It was phenomenal energy. But then I got back to our Airbnb, right? And I had that dream, which I'm going to go through. One of the most disturbing sleep paralysis experience I've ever had in my entire life. After this incredible day, but still I was highly skeptical. I was on edge. I was, you know, also there with like my baby. It was a bit tense, you know. But I have this dream where I'm basically in 3 different levels of a dream state, experiencing basically 3 dreams at once. And one of these states was like an in-between. The other dream state that I was in was I was back in Chicago, where I just was with my friends, and I was in the same place, the same apartment complex, but I was sleeping on an air mattress where I was before, except the person next to me was no longer my friend. They were all people I didn't know, but I could feel that there were 3 other presences in that house. So the person who was sleeping next to me, and then the 2 people in the master bedroom. And it was very unnerving, because I'm like, this is off. This isn't really where I was just a couple weeks ago. These are not the people I was with. So I go into the bathroom, and there's this mirror behind the toilet because I have to pee. And I'm looking in the mirror, and there's this one mirror that's directly against the wall on the back of the toilet, and then there's one that's slightly adjacent. So you have this angled vision. two different perspectives and two different mirrors. And in the mirror, I look at myself. First of all, I have silver hair. Like, that's kind of crazy. And then in one of the mirror faces, I'm moving at a slower pace than my physical body is moving. It's like delayed. I'm like, that's weird. And then while all of this is happening, Alora, who's sleeping next to me, my daughter, starts crying. Except now I can't wake up. So I'm now in between that plane and I'm like conscious, but I'm not conscious. And I'm trying to wake up and my hand's off the bed. And someone is pulling my hand with two arms, like really pulling. Alora's next to me screaming. And I'm trying to wake up and I just cannot do it. And then at the same time, someone wakes up in that apartment and they're trying to pull me back into that dream. They're like, hey, they're trying to talk to me. They're trying to bring me back in. And it's ominous. Like, it's not in a good way. They're trying to bring me back. So 3 things are going on at once. Someone's trying to bring me back into that dreamscape. Alora's screaming her head off in real time. And then in this other plane, someone is trying to pull me off of the bed. And I'm trying to speak. I'm trying to talk to my mom. My mom's now awake. And I'm like, please, like, help her, like, wake me up. I'm trying to say it, but you know, like, when you're in a dream state and it's like gurgles, you can't get anything out. My mom's like, oh no, like, it's okay, it's all good. And then my eyes open up, but I'm still, like, I'm in sleep paralysis. I'm still stuck there. And this goes on for minutes. And then all of a sudden, this shadow passes by. Very fucking ominous. Very ominous. A couple minutes go by, and I wake up. Actually, I come out of it, and Alora's completely asleep. Dead asleep with my mom. Making no noise whatsoever. And it took me a couple hours to get back to sleep. It was rough. Then the next night, I had a dream that I was with Forrest. And it kind of felt like Vegas, but we were staying in this hotel. And we were drinking, we were having a good time. And then we go out to the balcony and he starts to tell me that he's like super depressed. Like, he's having a really hard time. And I remember like going through the hallways with him and I'm going downstairs to like get something. And he's like, I'm going to go back up to the balcony. And I'm like, I can't let him go back out to the balcony. Like, I can't let him go out there. And I'm freaking out. Prior to this, we took this like pink drug. I have no idea what it was, but it was just this pink drug. I knew we were on it. And the thing was, there were 2 people that had OD'd the night before, these 2 twins. These 2 twins that took the same pink drug that died. And so we were like, we can take it. Like, we're not going to do that. We're going to be fine. But it's super dangerous. So Forrest kind of starts to get into this bad trip. And I'm like, no, it's going to be okay. And he's like, no, I'm going to go out to the balcony. And I was like, fuck. So I run out to the balcony and he has jumped off. And I didn't even look down. I'm like, I'm not. I had in that moment, I'm like, do I look or do I not? And I didn't. Went back down. I'm in a complete state of shock, as you would be. It was so real. And my friend's there with me. She's trying to like call the police. She's trying to like calm me down, but I am just in a complete paralysis. Like, there's no fucking way. And I'm freaking out. My world has just been rocked. A couple weeks later, Liam Payne jumped off that balcony after taking that pink Molly in Argentina, Buenos Aires. Yeah, same
That's
exact
wild.
thing. And it freaked me out. So yeah, other than that, Mount Shasta was great. Just those 2 nights there, very bad.
I haven't said this, but I've had some dreams where, like, so, every now and then, I'll have something that feels antagonistic. And there was one time, it was so weird, bro. And none of this stuff was that way on the surface. But this one time, I was meditating, like, halfway into a dream, and I hear, like, a little whisper in another language, and I snap out of it. Like, what the so weird, so out of place. That hypnagogic state, however the fuck you say it, bro. So, and then more recently, this was very recent. I had a dream and blah blah blah, shit's happening, and I'm in my house, and I come to realize that this presence that is there is it's trying to appear as something that is not malevolent. Um, and you can feel bad shit, man. Even if it's nothing crazy, you can tell.
Yeah.
So this thing comes out of me, and I'm able to like speak shit in another language aggressively, and it like saying that shit like knocks me awake. Cause I was like, the mindset I was in was like, fuck it, like no shot, bro.
Yeah.
And I say the shit against it, which I mean, it felt like a just very forceful, like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And it jolted me awake, like saying that stuff, which was so cool, bro. I'm not gonna go more in depth, but that ability, it's Terrence McKenna talks a lot about this. Everybody talks about this shit. How sound can be a physical medium, almost in altered states, and that's what I was tapping into in this situation. So okay, and then also before this, I wanted to say what I really want to do. So I love the Southwest. When you were talking about that, and then you were like, "Guess I'm taking these white people for a tour," and I was like, "Oh, shit." But I love the people in the areas of the American Southwest because they are so dialed into some spiritual current that just is everywhere there, moves through everything, and incredibly interesting people, incredible stories. I just fuck with the microphone. God. So I want to go there, and I want to do videos like I said about hate, all that shit, and just talk to these people and get the stories, and speaking to cultures that have been in the area globally, and getting their interpretation and their investigations of their own past, because sometimes it is so vastly different from the Western historical narrative of certain places. That was a big thing in Egypt. When you talk to the people whose families have lived there, they are certain beyond a shadow of a doubt that the dynastic Egyptians were not responsible for building the pyramids. That is no question. So I don't know, man. I think that would just be a beautiful thing to bring to the internet, to have these interviews with people that are just spaces for their stories to be told, and for them to decide what it is that gets told and what gets put out to the greater world, in an unadulterated form. I think that would be a beautiful thing, and we're respectful enough. We can handle that well. I think.
No doubt. So. I mean, and there's a huge difference between the people who are.
Keep talking. I'm gonna make sure I ain't run out of storage.
Yeah.
I have like 10 gigabytes left. We should be alright.
Okay.
Anyway, go on.
We'll be okay.
Yeah, we're all good.
Look at that lanternfly just going.
We've been talking for 43 goddamn minutes.
No way. That's how fast time flies.
Fuck.
That's crazy. Well,
we might have to cut this soon.
Yeah. There's a huge difference between people who just come in and excavate and, I mean, they get a lot of information. They have the licenses to do those things. They have the experience, the knowledge, the resources. But getting the stories of the people who've been there for generations, the people who are locked into that current, who embody that current and are in it, they have seen and heard and experienced the most otherworldly, crazy, just insane shit. Like, especially in the American Southwest. I mean, you're right, because like that's another place where there's a massive vortex, like in Arizona, for example. and I couldn't even like imagine, like we experienced some interesting stuff just being in a very colonial town, being in colonial Williamsburg.
Yeah.
But that was heavy, that was dark, that was like not progressive. It was like we were stuck, you know, and everything else was stuck. It was like purgatory. But places in the American Southwest, I mean, completely fucking different vibe. And there's a lot of horrific stuff that happened out there as well. But you should talk to people in Colonial Williamsburg and like that area too, because there's some interesting stories as well.
That would be good.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
I can't get over. I still feel like ever since we went into Eastern State, all of those times, like there has been like a lingering presence ever since. I don't know about now, but for a very long time, like a very negative presence that just lingered. Maybe multiple too. And I think some of that had to do with taking actual items from that place, like the key room. That's insane. Like that probably doesn't even exist anymore.
It still does.
Really?
Yeah.
That's insane. Like, what the hell is that?
Keys everywhere.
Keys.
Like this little room. They all have little hooks on the walls, covered in keys, and they're all over the floor, like coating the floor, bro.
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
It is just bizarre. I had to get rid of. I think I ended up getting rid of like all of the items I had from there because I remember I walked in one night. The time I brought in like I think you had like a VHS tape, or
I had an
did.
employee handbook.
You had an employee handbook. I think
old.
I had a VHS tape. I had a light bulb, and I had some keys. And I walk into the house, and my mom is like, "What the hell is on you? Like, what did you bring home?" Like, she knew immediately. She's like, "What do you have?" And I go to show her, and she was like, "Get that the hell out of the house." And I didn't. I had it in the house for a very long time, but it was quite heavy.
It's always interesting to me how those things actually function in terms of influence, because I have an opinion that any of the legends about, don't take a rock from here, you'll be fucking cursed, all that shit, I feel like those things can be overpowered, or not overpowered, but moved through in a certain way.
Yeah.
And there's a perception that is, you can't negate certain forces like this, but you can interact with them at a higher or lower degree in order to change the output. And in this context, what that means is, if you have something that would inundate you with negativity, I so strongly feel like there are ways you can be as an individual, which is a grand undertaking for something as small as countering a rock that you take instead of just putting the rock back. But if you are someone that operates in such a way that any of these energies are just as influential as any other negative thing you'd have, what I'm saying is all that bad shit would float and dissolve into a cloud of the other stuff that comes with life.
Right.
And while it would be an addition you've taken on that is a negative, however you want to put it, negative is not the right word, but it gets the point across. However, like, I'm just saying, there's a way to go about being a human that allows such forces to be dealt with.
Yes.
And for you to not move above them, but to operate in a way that leads to the repercussions not being felt.
Yes.
As people describe them.
Yes.
With nightmares or hauntings
and
shit that leads you to have to get rid of whatever you took.
Right.
And I want to understand the relationships there and what's at play in a situation such as that. What is the conscious element that is being shifted, if there is one? What is the interaction taking place between that force and the person that either has to put the rock back because they can't deal with it, or the person who exists apart from that in a way that they're not really noticeably influenced, at least not by that specific situation.
Interesting.
Who the fuck knows, bro?
Interesting.
Who the fuck knows? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm quite brave enough to do that yet.
Well,
I just let shit be now.
That's what I'm saying. The reason that I inevitably, like, I didn't get rid of all that shit.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff that I've taken on. And when you're talking about this,
Yeah.
I'm like, well, what if that did influence certain negative life events?
Right.
But at the same time, I'm so much a person that will tie those things wholly to myself.
Yeah.
To my own choices, all this shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that's a part of it. I feel like if something was so it's the cost. If something was so explicit and overwhelmingly negative and I had no reason to keep it, and I understood beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was from some certain place, then I guess I would abide by these rules that exist and just put it back.
Yeah.
Who knows, man?
Yeah. Well, I think I've gotten to the point now where there's this disruption that you can cause by removing something or taking something. And like there was this rock in Mount Shasta that my mom found, and it was like a pyramid, triangular pyramid shape. So not with a square base, but with it was all triangles on all sides. And she took it, and we were trying to figure out how we get it back on the plane, and that's gonna add like 10 pounds to the luggage. And then I wasn't gonna say anything. I wasn't gonna say, I don't know if you should take this, but she ended up putting it back, and we both immediately went calm because we're like, we weren't supposed to take that. Like that was meant to stay there. And it was interesting because it was next to this larger kind of pyramidal looking rock. We're like, that's the little baby. Like we can't take that. That's the baby rock. We can't take that. And that's not true for everything. But I have become incredibly discerning when I pick anything up and take it out of its place, because some things don't want to go with you. And there has to be this agreement, this respect between you and whatever you're taking. Because I am someone who believes that everything is sentient, everything deserves consent. So if I go and just pick up this rock and I get this undeniable feeling that like, oh, I'm not supposed to take this, and that this is not necessarily in relation to like what you're saying, where you can kind of negate or you can manage these energies.
I have shit to say about this too.
There was like one time when I was just in my head and I was on this run, and I'm like, wouldn't it be crazy if I just came across a snake right now? Not 10 seconds later, I see, and specifically like roadkill, like a snake that's been hit. Not 10 seconds later, I run into this snake that's been hit, and I'm like, holy shit, there it is. And like we've talked about, this happens all of the time to me, especially when I'm like on the road.
Yeah, these motherfuckers.
They like us. Anyways, I found this snake, and its little individual vertebrae are scattered across the road. First of all, sad. I'm like, shit, man, that's not good. But I'm like, okay, like, you know what? I want to take some of these home with me. I want to take some of these vertebrae. I want to have part of the snake with me. And I was trying to, so in a lot of indigenous cultures, like you never take more than half when you're foraging. You respect the plants, you communicate with the plants. If there's like a bee on the berries that you want to pick, you don't pick them. If they're, thorns and it's hard to reach, you don't pick it because it's not meant to be picked. You leave it. So I'm asking for a sign. I'm like, okay, tell me when to stop taking from you. Tell me when, like, I'm done taking the vertebrae. And so I pick up exactly 5, and then all of a sudden this beautiful yellow butterfly just like flies up right into my face, hovers there for a second, and then goes away. So I take just 5 vertebrae and I call it a day. I'm like, all right, there it was. So I've become, look at that stick bug over there. Right in the
Oh my God.
So I have become very hyper aware, hyper vigilant of consent with the rest of the natural world and what I'm allowed to take and share and leave behind. Because you're supposed to leave stuff behind when you go foraging. You're supposed to leave stuff behind when you take. There's this reciprocity. There's this, you know, back and forth. It's a relationship. It's not a contract, but it's, you know, it's a form of respect. You don't take and not give anything. So that's like why Native Americans would go around with tobacco all the time, because that was their sacred offering.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I've been thinking about. I'm like, I have to buy tobacco so I can leave it where I go. But
okay, so
yeah.
when you're talking about this stuff, I was like, damn, like perhaps a reason I do not have the same issue with taking stuff, right, is because I'm so attentive to that too. And whenever I pick something up, it's because I'm drawn to it, to take it with me. And like, I try, so I can feel like an anxiety feeling when it's like, just move the fuck on. Like, there's nothing here for you, bro.
Yep.
And it has become so strong when there's something, whether it's a rock or just some weird deal, and that makes sense why I'm not feeling this negative shit, even if it comes from a location other people are like,
absolutely, right? Absolutely.
I'm so serious and concerned and focused on, even without like, I didn't think about this when I was talking.
It's not even a conscious thought usually.
It is such a natural thing to be like, this is like meant to interact with me.
Yes.
And I don't question that either. I just accept that.
Yeah. So that's the problem I think I've had to deal with. I've taken things that were not meant to be moved, not meant to be touched.
Yeah.
And I've had to face the consequences of that. And so that's where this became a conscious thought in my, you know, my little scavengers, my little scavenging, you know, because I'm like, okay, I have to be super aware and intentional about what's coming home with me and what's staying, because I have taken the wrong things before, and that's some uncomfortable encounters. So yeah.
All right, I think we gotta cut it, bro.
Gotta cut it.
Have a good night, everybody. So long.
I have to pee.
It's good. We're gonna do this many times, bro.
Many times.
We're gonna tell many stories.
I like it.